Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. You have my iPads in the photo there, okay? Now, today I want to talk to you about something that we all hope happens very quickly. And that is that there is going to be a cure for type 1 diabetes. And oh, how awesome that would be. And being truthful, it would be awesome. Sorry, my eyes still have some sleep in it. Now, there is a slight problem in that insulin, which is a hormone that controls diabetes, back in the 20s when it was first diagnosed, people were still dying from the disease. There was a lot of people getting sick and not being able to get the drug. It took many years for insulin to be at levels that would suit anyone. So my question is, how are we going to make sure that demand doesn't outweigh it? Well, we're not in as serious problems, just as I stated earlier. Type 1 diabetes has insulin, and people can live off insulin. I mean, my life hasn't been terrible. Sorry, I got so much, my eyes are itchy. But on the other hand, my life hasn't been that bad. I mean, diabetes sucks. And yes, having to take shots, but how much better you feel. And if some of you have been keeping kind of in track of what's going on with myself, over the past couple of months, I've been having real problems with my intestines, which I think are pretty much a complication. But it's going to have to solve this because my blood sugars have been skyrocketing. It's been making me sick. And it's kind of like, how are you going to gauge who gets the medication or whatever the cure is first? And who's going to wait? Well, we do have insulin, so it's not going to be as crucial as mothers, fathers, getting in touch with Dr. Banting. Oh, my son, oh, my daughter needs insulin. Oh, and I can understand where they're coming from. If your son, daughter, family member is dying from a disease, you're going to want the cure and you're going to want it. And I would like to preface this in saying, when insulin was first discovered, everyone thought it was going to be the cure. And it didn't end up being that way, but it allowed an awful lot of people to lead a life full of everything pretty much everything they wanted to do. So, I think people who have the most complications, and I'm not saying that, yes, because I've got complications, but I'm talking people who have trouble controlling with insulin. You don't hear about it too much now, but when insulin was made out of beef and pork, that some humans would become allergic to it. And they could only get pork insulin, or they could only get beef insulin. And it was a pain. So I don't feel many people are allergic to the human insulin because they're made to be genetically the same as a human insulin. And so when a cure comes, I would love to get the cure, but so would every other type 1 diabetic. And, I think there will be people who fall into type 2 or fall into, well, maybe not gestational so much, but will try to get the cure. And I would not, if I had type 2, I would kind of have to say, people, don't take their spots. Type 1 has been called the how do you say it? Oh, you've got the worst type of diabetes. Where type 2 is kind of like, oh yeah, well, eat right, make sure you exercise, and you'll be fine. And you know what? I think we began the short stick for years, and I'm talking since I became a diabetic in 1977. For years, type 1s have always been put on the back. There has been less research devoted because the majority are type 2. So if a cure comes for type 1, let the type 1s have it. It's not that difficult. But, I'm sure I'll get some type 2 who will disagree with me on that point. That not every type 2 has to go on insulin. If you're not losing weight, if you're not eating right, exercising, doing everything you should have been doing from the get-go, then why should, there's a cure, yeah, for type 1s. Oh, it must be good for us too. I don't think. For once, I've got to stand up for type 1s and say, make sure, I'm only talking for the province I live in, BC, that every type 1 is taken care of first before any other cures come available for, like if they find the medication or whatever the procedure can help type 2s. Because type 2s, living a better lifestyle, will get them better control. And eventually, a lot of them will be able to get off their medications and live a good, solid life. Where type 1 diabetics will never get off insulin unless they come up with a cure. But at first, everyone's going to race and say, oh, well, I have to be at the top of the line, and and how many people will there be trying to beat the system? There'll be an awful lot of parents who have type 1 children who will try to get better care for their sons or daughters. And I'm all for that, but if they don't, what's the worst thing? You're going to have to live off insulin for a bit longer. If the cure comes in my lifetime, yay, and I hope I'm able to get it, but I think there'll be such a big drain. I think we all have to live our lives the best we can. And whether that's being type 1, type 2, even for a short term, just I always have problems with this word, gestational, that we can all control diabetes better. So do the best that you can do so that those who are really truly medically need the type whatever cure it is, and that there is enough for everyone. Just some thoughts. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.